Oh, okay. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. So happy to be here with you today. I'm Renuka with Scale It, proud to have engaged and connected with many of you on the in-service learning circles. Just a few housekeeping mentions. If you need a break, you can take a minute. This is being recorded for knowledge purposes only. So this month is Employment Disability Awareness Month, and this year's theme is Disability, Part of the Equity Equation. So observed annually in October, this month, Employment Disability Awareness Month, celebrates the contributions of America's workers with disabilities, past and present. So today we will hear from friends who are really deep in the work of making disabilities part of our everyday equation in the workplace and the classroom. Anixter Center, Janae Powell, works with Anixter Center, helping companies find disabled employment candidates and working with them in the classroom and with tutors who are working with disabled learners. And so if companies or institutions want to hire a diverse population, Anixter has programming for disabled workers. And that's when we have Hazel Bowman from Anixter Center talking to us today. First, we have, though, Bishwa from the Illinois Department of Human Services. He works in the sector of rehabilitation services. He's actually at a symposium right now, so he's here graciously. Some of you may know him, giving his time to be here. So I'll let him talk to us at this moment. Would you like me to share anything, Bishwa?
No, Renuka, again, thank you and Scale It for hosting this important topic in this very important month, something that I think we should be talking about regularly. But, this month just gives us an opportunity as practitioners and leaders in this field to, build more awareness on disability hiring and how it impacts not just job seekers, but the employers and the community at large. Like I said, like you mentioned, I do have a hard stop at 1:30 because I'm at a symposium with a lot of your colleagues from Scale It. So yeah, if I could just kind of touch base or discuss some of the services that our agency provides and what we're doing as a collective with other workforce partners and employers to advance this mission, that would be great.
Wonderful. Okay, so I've got a couple of your slides up here.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, perfect. So I'm not going to turn my camera on just because I'm using my phone and I don't want my face to be all over everyone's screen because I have to hold it close to my hand. So our agency, we are part of the Department of Human Services, and the Department of Human Services is the state's largest agency as far as employees and budget. So it's the largest agency that operates under the governor's office. And in the Department of Human Services, there are 6 divisions, 3 of them that provide a lot of services to individuals with disabilities. There's a division of developmental disabilities that provides services, including employment service to individuals that have significant disabilities. There's a division of mental health that, obviously provides services and wraparound services to individuals in Illinois that have a mental health diagnosis. And then we are the largest agency under DHS, the Division of Rehabilitation Services. At one point, we were a separate department, but now we're part of DHS. And we are the state's leading agency that provides services to individuals with disabilities as far as the number of individuals we serve. We work in partnership with people with disabilities, their families, guardians, advocates, community partners, community agencies to make sure that people with disabilities are receiving employment services, education services, and are living independently. The division itself has 2 programs. DR, which is the program that I'm going to be talking about, and home service program. I do want to just kind of talk a little bit about the home service program. So that program provides services to people with the most significant disabilities in Illinois. And, the objective is to make sure that they're living at home as independently as possible. So that can include, homemakers, that can include modifications to their home environment so it's accessible and they're living as independently as possible. So VR is a federally mandated program. It is something that the Department of Education administers, and we, as the state's lead agency, had been designated to administer that program in Illinois. There are other entities in other states or other departments that administer that program, but our agency administers that program here. So a lot of our funding comes from the federal government. In fact, most of it comes from the federal government. I believe somewhere between 75 to 80 is federal dollars, and then the remaining money is from state budget. And the goal of that program, the VR program, is very simple. It's to assist people with disabilities not just find employment, but maintain and retain competitive integrated employment. And there are two buzzwords here: competitive and integrated. Competitive means it's employment opportunities that is at or above the minimum wage. So we're not talking about sub-minimum wage opportunities, which still exist, but in this state, we're going to be phasing that out here in a few years. And integrated means it is an opportunity for that individual that is in the community with peers that do not have that, where majority of the peers do not have disabilities. So, for example, if an employer has 100 employees, 51 of them would not 51 of those employees cannot have a disability for that employment to be considered integrated. So, we're not looking at finding employment opportunities for people where they're working just with people with disabilities. Now, there are some examples, like Microsoft has a program for neurodivergent individuals where the team makeup is of individuals with disabilities, but Microsoft itself is a very large corporation, and they obviously have more than 10,000 employees. So in that sense, it's okay to pursue opportunities in that type of setting, but the employer itself has to have majority of the people cannot have a disability for it to be considered integrated. And our unit was created, 4 or 5 years ago to kind of tackle that number that you see on the screen, is to make sure that disability employment is mainstream. In the most recent census, 1 in 4 people in the United States reported having some kind of disability. So it's very stark. It's that makes people with disabilities the largest minority group in this country now, and they can be of practical use to the American labor force and the labor market. So I think it's all important for us, our partners at Anixter and many other partners that have a vested interest in disability employment, to make sure that these job seekers are ready and also receiving services to not just find employment, but also succeed in that employment place. So what we want to do is, focus on the ability that the individual has and make sure that they're excelling in the workplace. And we do that. So our unit, primarily partners with employers, but, where we're seeing a lot of leverage is working with community partners like Anixter, but also workforce development partners like Scale It, Tri-Cook Partnership, and the various entities that operate out of the American Job Centers. Because as a Title IV provider that administers DR, we have a seat at the table to discuss employment opportunities, not just for the general population, but also for individuals with disabilities. So, we can leverage the relationship we have with workforce partners to bring those resources, to bring those opportunities to job seekers with disabilities, share them with our community partners. So those resources are equitable, and job seekers with disabilities are not being left behind. And each case, whether it's a job seeker or employer, can be different. Each job seeker has different needs, and each employer has various workforce needs. And our goal is to make sure that we match the right job seeker with the right workforce needs. So a lot of it is about volume. It's connecting with employers that have a lot of opportunities, but a lot of times we also work with small employers to see if there's a fit for a specific job seeker that we're working with that has a specific skill set that would be a good fit for the employer. So one thing that we're seeing, being done very constructively in Cook County and in Illinois is a lot of workforce partners kind of buying into our mission and helping agencies like us, Anixter, and the various hundreds of community partners that we work with in the Chicagoland area to give them access to those resources. And the reason why it's important is because we want to make sure that employers understand that there is benefit for them to hiring people with disabilities. Every year there's a study called the Disability Equality Index, which is a consortium of employers that conduct research on the benefits for employers when they include a workforce that include people with disabilities. And that study from year after year has shown that employers that have an inclusive hiring practice and incorporate people with disabilities into the workplace tend to perform better, meaning they yield higher revenues, they have a higher profit margin, it helps their bottom line. But the important aspect of that study shows that the the public perception of that company is very favorable. These are companies that are Fortune 500 companies like your Microsofts, like your Accentures, that hire a high volume of candidates with disabilities and also folks from other marginalized communities. But it not only helps their bottom line, but it also boosts morale within the company. There's a good workplace culture where everyone is accepted, everyone feels included, and appreciate the inclusive environment that they're in. And they also have a good public perception. They also have a favorable perception from the public. So it actually makes sense for individuals to buy into this inclusive practice and hire individuals with disabilities. This last slide just kind of is really geared for employers, but this is something that our partners can also share with employers that they come in contact with. We provide a lot of services to employers. The main one is centered around recruitment. We want to help employers tap into disability talent. We also provide consultation on accommodations. One quick tidbit that I always share with employers is 90% of accommodations cost less than $500, and of that, 90% of them are free. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of employers, when they think of hiring people with disabilities, they automatically think of accommodations and they kind of shy away from it. And the number that I just yelled out earlier indicates that it's not that expensive. Now, if the employer is small and they don't have the resources, then we can also provide that accommodation to the employer and the employee. So, that's another service that we provide. We also have a training unit that goes around the state. Now, they do it virtually, and I tag along with them to do disability awareness training. So we, provide this for management staff. We provide this for, support staff to give them tips and tools on creating an inclusive workplace when they're working alongside someone with a disability. We also offer OJT. So if there are employers that are, reluctant to hire someone just based on their skill sets, then, we can cover the cost of the employee's wage for the first 3 months and then let the employer decide if they want to bring that candidate on board full time. We also work closely with our partners at the Illinois Department of Employment Security to connect employers to tap into the work opportunity tax credit, which is a federal program for employers that hire folks from targeted populations, and many more. So those are just some of the big services that our agency and our unit provides to employers. And the website and the application link, I think, is a little dim right now, but you can contact me. I'll leave my email in the chat box. My number is visible, but if anyone has any questions or wants to learn a little bit more about our agency and how we can work together, please give me a call or just shoot me an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vishwa, for all that information. Just
Of course.
a reminder to drop it in the chat garden if you have a minute, just to put in the website and your contact information. But I will definitely be sending these slides out for everyone who's not able to join us today. So thank you, Bishwa. I know you have to run, but wishing you a great day, and thanks again for being here.
Really good. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye now.
All right, bye-bye. All right, next we have Janae with the Anixter Center. And Janae is Anixter Center has been a member of Scale It for years, and so we are so joyous that Janae is able to come with us to this October month. And if there are any other events that are happening, please do let us know. But we'll take questions at the end if anyone is curious to know more. So I'll let you take it over from here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janae Powell. I also have someone else from my company, from Anixter Center, with me. Pleasant surprise, who's joining me is Hazel Bowman. So I wasn't prepared to introduce her, but I will be giving her the floor in a little bit to explain more about what Anixter does concerning workplace accommodation, workplace employment of individuals with disabilities in the workplace. Hazel is also a coworker with me. So here we are. We're here to advance accessibility and talk about best practices for individuals with disabilities in the workplace. October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It's also ADHD awareness, dyslexia awareness, diversity awareness, Down syndrome awareness, and bullying prevention awareness month. Let's all consider all of those things when we talk about the workplace environment. I think that's appropriate that it's all in one sitting. I'm Janae. Again, I will blast past that. I don't have something prepared for Hazel. So I didn't prepare anything for you, Hazel, but I serve adults with disabilities. And this is a little bit about me. My name is Janae, and I'm the literacy program coordinator, the employment program. We refer people to each other. Employment and literacy work hand in hand. This is just a little bit about me. And I'll let Hazel, who I'm going to introduce very soon, talk about what she does for Anixter Center. Anixter Center supports people with disabilities, the adult disabled population. And here are a couple of things that we do. Literacy employment, which Hazel does, day programming, mental health, and residential, to name a few. And also we have CHS, Chicago Hearing Society, as part of our company for the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing. So this is where I'm going to give the floor over to Hazel. This is a little bit, I was prepared to talk about it, but I think Hazel is the expert about what Anixter does. We can help you with your hiring needs. This is the email at the bottom of where you would contact for if you were going to hire someone from the disabled population. I'm going to stop the share, and I think that Hazel has something to share for us for her department, employment. Hazel?
Oh, Hazel's muted.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hazel Bowman. I'm a Disability Inclusion Coordinator with the Anixter Center, and I've served in that capacity for the last 5 years. I've had a different role the first 2 years of my employment, but we've moved on and we're continuing the work that Anixter is doing. I want to share my screen with you and kind of just briefly talk about screen. This presentation that I have. I probably won't hit every component of it, but as much as I can in a short period of time. Okay, let's see here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Anixter Center. This is a company that serves people with disabilities. We are creating workplace cultures of inclusion for people with disabilities. My next slide says, who are we? We are the Lester Roselli Anixter Center. We are an innovative non-for-profit organization serving the Chicagoland community for over 100 years. This is what we believe. We believe in inclusion, and we believe that means everyone. Disability is not an exception. What do? We service children, we service teens, we service adults each year. And I think a number is there as to how many individuals we service. Our work is focused on individuals with intellectual disabilities, mental health, deaf and blind, and hard of hearing. With over 100 years in the Chicagoland area as a leader, we have demonstrated leadership skills by doing the following: fulfilling the needs of employees, our business partners, customers, and communities. We've challenged misconceptions and myths about what people can do and what people cannot do with the disabilities. We have increased the awareness and understanding of people with disabilities, seen and unseen, and we have also provided training tools for our staff, for our partners, for employers that we work with. And those training tools have allowed us to recruit better people, to retain quality staff, and to advance the talent that we have. There are many advantages of working with us. We have a diverse talent pool. We have an enhanced brand image. When someone knows that we're working with people with disabilities, a lot of companies, they kind of like that. They buy into it. And so they support us. We have a positive culture, improve productivity, increase the bottom line. And that's always the case. If I hire someone with a disability, the employers think, what will that do to my bottom line? Well, research has shown that the bottom line has been impacted over the last few years by a high presence of individuals with disabilities. As our partner, we want you to know that we build, we connect, we focus. We build on disability forward-thinking strategies together. We connect vast networks of people and talent experts. And we also focus on leveling the playing field for people and businesses alike. Here are just a few of our partnerships that we've created over the years. Here's a few of our individuals like CARF. We're certified through CARF. We have a relationship with the Department of Human Services. We work with MODI. We work with the Department of Aviation, and also Skills for Chicagoland's Future. We also partnership with jobs and internships with a lot of these other companies that's listed in the presentation. So we are really known out in the business world. We want to be seen, and we are a one-stop resource for building a diversity forward workplace culture. That's how we want to be viewed. Our process, we assess both our internal and external customers. We design a roadmap that's going to move us from one point to another towards success. And then we implement that roadmap that we've created. Recruitment and training. We are committed to helping businesses hire, retain, and coach people with disabilities. We do that through a variety of ways. Talent acquisition and retention support services. We would try to recruit the best talent. And then once we recruit them, we continuously provide training for them. We participate in on-the-job training activities as well. And we have at some of our partnership locations, we've embedded a disability inclusion specialist to be on site to assist with any barriers, any problems that may exist. And we try to remove or to minimize those barriers or challenges that exist for our customers once they are employed at a work site or trying to achieve employment. With our partners, we have opportunities to have job shadowing days, internships, and mentoring. Professional training. Our training includes disability presentations at different corporations and companies, employee resource group participation. We participate in a lot of these groups. And we also value the diversity, equity index. And we try to use that as a strategy to move our processes forward. Consulting and contracting support for people who are deaf, blind, and hard of hearing includes interpreter services, hearing and assistive technologies, and environmental surveys. Engage for impact. Partnering together, influence employers, recruiters, and workforce development teams to hire qualified candidates with disabilities. Increasing team confidence and disability awareness and understanding of the seen and unseen disabilities. Provide employment opportunities for people of all abilities. So when I go in and I talk with my prospective employer, I try to convey that when I place someone here, that person will be supported. And we look at what the support needs are, what the accommodation needs are, and we together create a plan. And when we have a plan, we always create a reduction plan because our services, the whole goal is for our client to work independently of our services. Here's a testimonial that I thought I would share with everyone. And this testimony is from one of our partners, the University of Chicago Medicine. Person says, our partnership with Anixter Center has empowered us to rethink our processes, rethink our systems and tools to advance our disability inclusion initiative. Together with Anixter, we've significantly improved our recruiting, our hiring, our onboarding policies, and training for employees with intellectual disabilities. We've greatly advanced our workforce strategy, objectives at UCM. Anixter continues to help us reimagine what could be at UCM as we continually evolve. I kind of like that, and I appreciate that testimonial. And I just want you to know, if you have any additional questions, you can contact us at that email address that was previously shown, and we'll be available to answer any and all of your questions. Thank you, Janine, for this opportunity. And I hope that someone would continue to consider us when you have some need for our services.
And yes, I will share that email again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Hazel.
You're welcome.
So yes, thank you very much, Hazel. I just wanted to now continue with talking about generally what we're celebrating today, which is basically inclusion for adults with disabilities in the workplace. Today's purpose is to motivate you to welcome and support disabled individuals and to educate you about programming that you can use concerning your workplace and the population. So I want to get to the heart of the matter. What we'll learn today is understanding how to approach an individual with a disability, best practices for the workplace, and how to put all the puzzle pieces together. I would definitely utilize the Department of Human Services and also Anixter Employment. Why reinvent the wheel? Get a professional involved if you are going to employ. You're not alone. You're not on your own. Okay, so this is a little bit about, I'm not going to read everything, but this is about who qualifies as disabled. You will have this slideshow to review to know who the disabled are. It's not like there's a definite list that's staunch, but this is a little bit about that. And we want to have the right terms when we use the words that we use with people with disabilities. So this is a little bit about terms that you use around disability, especially in the presence of someone disabled. And again, because of shortness of time, I'm not going to read these slides, but I just want to let you know, go back in and look at these slides and get yourself together to level up to be inclusive and welcoming. We may use the wrong terminology with people. So ultimately, it's about how the person identifies. If they say, I am autistic, go with it. If they say, I am deaf, I am low vision, I am a person, an individual with disabilities, etc. There's a lot that you can learn from around language. I would look into inclusive language. If you're going to onboard someone that has a disability, they can you can be offensive without knowing it. Just saying. So objectives here are to develop an understanding, increase knowledge, and to identify strategies to create inclusiveness. And it starts in your mind and in your heart. It starts in how you actually view people that have a disability and how you really feel about and how comfortable you feel around them will come out. So it's good to prep yourself and level up concerning that. The people, they went, the man in the beginning from Department of Human Services went over the numbers. This is a little bit about the numbers, but let's get back to words. I skipped over that slide, but you can return to it about the population of disabled. I am going to now talk about one example here is an outdated word is handicapped. The correct word is person with disability. Birth defect is incorrect. Congenital disability. Victim is possibly offensive. Survivor is not offensive. Confined to a wheelchair, uses a wheelchair. Those are two different, that hits you a different kind of way. Crazy or retarded are not allowed as words. Has a mental illness, suffers from, is something that is possibly offensive, experiences pain or suffers from pain. Those are two different ways to express it. Look into it and level up. I encourage you to look into this slide. Here are, I hope I'm not covering everything up, some celebrities with disabilities. Lady Gaga, Janet Jackson has depression. They're public with it. Stevie Wonder, of course, has blindness, but also ADHD. We have many people on here who are deaf, hard of hearing. Temple Grandin has autism, and many other people on here. Selena Gomez, depression and polio, and with, of course, our President Roosevelt, many others. These are very talented people, and we wouldn't want to have experienced the arts, government, and all of that without them. So I encourage you to look into opening your heart and mind to employing someone. Let's talk about etiquette. This is a short movie that I'm going to skip over, but it talks about how this woman is viewed as disgusting. She is a little person. That's what she identifies as. So I'm not assigning her a word that she's not accustomed to. And she had to really endure to have the right kind of self-esteem. If you need, email me and I will send these videos to you that I'm skipping over. I don't want to hold you too long, but I just want to invite you. And I will send you this if you request it from me. Oops. Sorry. Let's stop. Okay, I will skip over that. All right, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions to come to understand how you feel. Ask yourself, are you comfortable with disabilities? Whether you have one or not, or are around someone. When you see them, do you avoid eye contact? Do you pity them? Would you socialize with them regularly and voluntarily? Just something that's food for thought. I was going to go and ask questions, chime in. if you have anything to say about any of these thought-provoking reflecting questions. Just getting real with yourself about these things is something that can be of great help to you being who you need to be in a workplace environment around someone. So what is equity? What is equality? What is equity? What is inclusion? Here are the definitions. I'm sorry if this is covering up the presentation. Please change your view if you can't read it or go back and look at the slides. Let's level up and come to understand these terms. What is equality? Here's the definition: a state of being equal with rights and opportunities. Equity is a state of the quality of being fair. So being fair might mean if I have low vision and I work for you, that you give me large print, or if I'm blind, that they have free services to translate it into Braille. You don't have to do anything, just get the right people involved to make everything equal, so that when I produce work for you and someone else does, that it's equal playing ground. And inclusion has to do with accommodations, making sure there are pathways that everyone's goals can be met. This is just this slide in a nutshell. So here are some tips for different disability categories. I am not going to read all of them, but I encourage you to, as I go through these, revisit this slideshow, freeze it, and take a look if you ever have someone that works for you with the following. Developmental intellectual disabilities are, here's the definition. Some examples are cerebral palsy, which is physical. It is developmental. Down syndrome and spina bifida. I'm sorry, I'm saying that right. And here are the tips to accommodate someone emotionally for them. They have accommodations, physical and technical accommodations, but what I'm talking about is how you socialize and integrate with this person and treat the person. So these are a couple of things that you can do when interacting with someone with intellectual and developmental challenges. I'm just saying you can return to these slides. Communication challenges. This is the definition. Here are some examples. Stuttering, and possibly some other things where communications are impaired doesn't actually mean that they might have something intellectual going on, but they may not produce words the way you are accustomed to. And here are general tips. Just going through the slides because I want to get down to some other things where we're going to talk about some things. Freeze the frame and take pictures or screenshots when you want to know the answers. Here's something. Visual disabilities. These are people with low vision blindness or color blindness. And it's more common, low vision is more common than people want to admit. If you have some glasses on your face, you do have an actual technology that helps you with vision the way that this woman does, but hers probably is more intense. They do have text to speech. They do have technology that that can accommodate someone. Here are some general tips for someone with visual impairments. Auditory, hard of hearing and deafness. This is the definition. And these are general tips. Mobility, paralysis, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, could be something having to do with limbs or something having to do with pain. Also, pain can be debilitating. People suffer in silence. So we can't assume if someone is moving differently from you, you might be experiencing someone already due to being some things they're not disclosing to you. By the way, people don't have to disclose that they have a disability to you in the workplace. It's not required of people, by the way. They can actually not talk about it or not disclose it, just FYI. And here are some general tips for people with mobility. Very important, meet people at eye level. If you are going to talk to someone stooping like this over them or reaching over them might be offensive. It probably is. And if you are, what you do is drop your eyes and look at their eyes, not look above them, not look at the wheelchair, but look at them, their head. That is one tip of many. Neurodivergence is very invisible. Here are some neurodivergent examples: autism, Tourette, sensory processing disorders, where someone you wouldn't be able to, on first glance, understand that they have a neurodivergence. And again, people don't have to tell you, but if you see someone moving differently or having a flat affect or taking longer to respond, something like that, it could be ADHD, which is another neurodivergent that's very common these days. And here are general tips. Mental health. This could be any of these. These are only a few. Some of them might need medication, some may not. Some may be due to mood or due to a temporary depression, grieving. That does affect your mental health if you've had a loss, if you have a loss and you lose someone, death in the family. Do you understand that person coming back from bereavement might be experiencing a mental health crisis? So here are some general tips with acting with tenderness with that person. Okay, I know this is kind of big. I want to actually read this. Treat people as you would want to be treated. Always ask for helping. People are operating all the time with having a wheelchair without you. So overextending yourself might be offensive. Over glamorizing it or heroizing, making them the hero, thinking of them as a hero or elevating the fact that they have a disability might be offensive. They want to be treated like everyone else. Be respectful, give people space, get to know them, and relax. People with disabilities are just like you. Just try to see things from their point of view, if you can kind of take some time to do that. So disabilities in the workplace. Let's get through this. Hazel covered a lot of this, so I'm going to speed through a couple, but I want to go through an actual person. This is Victoria. Victoria was diagnosed with Down syndrome, and as you can see, there are a couple of other things on the screen that she was diagnosed with from birth. Just letting you review the screen for a couple of seconds and the words there. Those are more than a double diagnosis, including leukemia, including other defects. And her parents consistently received messages filled with disheartening predictions from birth and from media and from institutions. Negative, negative, negative. But this is her graduation picture. She graduated from high school. They didn't automatically snatch her out and homeschool her. They kept her in and got her the right accommodations, the right counseling, the right supports, and with the right perspective. This is her prom night. As a collective, Victoria's parents and teachers encouraged, included, and accommodated her. And in the ensuing years, things were transformative, uplifting for her. She got dignity and a lot of things that people get robbed of by not being interacted with appropriately. You can take time to read a little bit about her story. She realized that her family actually had hope in her, and they treated her like they included her in the way that they needed to in the home and had people accommodate her at school in the right way. but she did receive challenges, of course. This is actually a real person. In June, 2022, Victoria graduated high school, not only with a 4-year culinary certificate, but 10 credits more than graduation requirements, but also as a member of the National Honor Society. I know her parents needed to work hard for it, but she was able to do it. She declared her ambition to become a chef. Someone hired her. She found herself a job at a restaurant. Victoria embarked on a journey at our local community college pursuing a degree in culinary arts. So if she doesn't take just 4 years or just 2 years, she might take longer to get through. But question, would you hire her if you owned a restaurant? If she showed up for an interview? Just entertain that thought. This is something that Hazel went over, talking about the benefits and that we have partners. I'm going to go through this now. Concerning inclusion, do you know the new terminology, quiet hiring and quiet quitting and quiet firing? Quiet firing is treating an employee so poorly that it is disengaging to them and that they don't feel welcomed and that they really just leave on their own. It is a form of emotional abuse and non-inclusion. Examples are little to no salary increase and low pay, keeping them out of social gatherings, after work, happy hour, I don't know, whatever you're doing, and not even inviting them ever, micromanaging them, not respecting them, that's called ableism, keeping them out of the loop, let's say, not inviting them to the movies, and not inviting them to the little meetings where people the committees, and not giving them time off, thinking that they're moving too slowly, little to no time off. These are very common, and you are really quiet firing them. They will leave or not feel really welcomed. And after a while, you've really fired them. You never really did hire them.
Okay, Janae, we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay,
So
I'm going to close it up. I'm going to rush through to the end. Thank you for letting me know. I just wanted to go through that. These are ways that you can include people and accommodate them. I'm going to go to the end just in case there are questions. We talked about the average cost of accommodating the first person. This is how you can include people. You can please ask me for the slideshow. I'm going to go to questions because we only have 5 minutes. Are there any questions
Janae.
for Hazel or I?
Well, I do have a question. So Anixter is super important in the community, and I wanted to know if you still have, like currently, do you have individuals that are not, that English is not their first language?
Yes.
And how do you do you work with them first in the literacy department and then like sort of move them along in the workforce, or what is
Yes, we have someone that's Haitian and also has a physical disability. So they're working they're in the literacy program. I'm the literacy coordinator, and they have been placed in a job where they don't use language as much, like the grocery store cart helper outdoors. They are looking to advance. But we meet them where they are. They may be able to be employed, but literacy is a component with them. Hazel, do you have something to say about that?
Oh, no, we have very few individuals with a different language other than English.
Okay.
Very few, but I have a couple. Because I'm literacy, I get them,
right,
and they kind of have to stay over here. I can't push them onto Hazel
yes,
without them having English. So
yes.
I have a couple in literacy, but concerning employment, there are just not that many.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, thank you so much.
I mean, if they speak another language, English is part of the languages that they speak. So keep that in mind.
So they basically are bilingual by the time they get to you.
Yes.
And then I had one more question. Do you still have the training program in-house at Anixter?
No, we don't. That was a
No.
sheltered in program.
Okay, okay.
And so our goal is to provide competitive employment for our customers.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. I want to get back to the slide. This is my information,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to get back to the slide. Give me a second if I can. That gives our employment email. Bear with me. I'm getting there, Hazel. Sorry.
That's
I
all
didn't
right.
know I was going to share the
All
presentation,
right.
so I prepared an hour-long presentation. Oh, here we are. Okay. Where are we?
Okay, there we are. All
Oh,
right.
wait. Was that the
And
email?
it was before that time.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see
Before.
that? Employment@anixter.org. We match you with the right, we match people with the right company, and you get the right person for the right job.
Mm-hmm.
If you call, I don't have the number, Hazel. I don't know if you have a phone number or
Let's see if I have one in my presentation.
Okay,
Yes.
I will stop the share.
Yes. And then
Thank
I'll
you so
show you.
much.
You're welcome. I'll show who you
We
can
made
talk.
the time. It's only one more minute and I made it.
Did it, Janae. Well, I give grace and gratitude to Janae and Hazel from Anixter for showing up and providing us with such important information.
Okay, you probably should be able to see this last slide.
And Janae, if you or Hazel, would you mind sharing your slides with me?
Sure, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. At the bottom, my supervisor, Matt Christensen or Bakal Alifa. You
Okay.
can call one of those individuals and they could assist you in moving forward with us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, and Anixter is located on
Well,
Wilson Avenue.
we have
Okay.
several locations. I'll give you one, 6610 North Clark Street.
Yes. Okay. And what about the Clybourne location? So what has happened to that? That's where the training used to be.
That's correct. We moved out of that location.
Okay, so it's not okay.
We're not there anymore. We
Okay.
are mostly located in the community.
Right.
So we have three addresses: 66 North Clark Street, 1802 West Berto, and 1945 West Wilson.
Oh, that's where you are. Okay.
There's several locations and those are only a few.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much, Hazel. Thank you, Janae.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Does anyone have any last minute questions for either of them? We will be having a discussion with the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities on October 25. So that information will be shared in the email following this presentation. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I hope I did everyone justice on changing your mindset.
Yeah.
Bye.
We'll see you at the next in-service learning circle. Thank you. Great to see you, Susie. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.